everyone. You know that access to information is one of the cornerstones of democracy. It's what keeps governments accountable and citizens informed. The United Nations even recognizes it as a fundamental part of freedom of expression. Think about it. When people have access to the right information, they can question policies, demand better governance, and actively participate in decision making. But when that access is restricted, then what happens? Well, that's when things get tricky. It opens the door to corruption, limits public scrutiny, and weakens democracy. After all, an informed society is the backbone of a progressive nation. So with this background in view, let's talk about the right to information movement in India. As we all are aware by now that India's journey towards transparency wasn't an overnight success. It took years of activism and struggle. One of the biggest influences in this entire process was the Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan, which was led by Aruna Roy. Back in 1987, they started pushing for people's right to know, that is, demanding transparency in governance and accountability from those in power. Their efforts finally paid off in 2005 when the Indian Parliament passed the Right to Information Act, popularly known as the RTI Act, which was, of course, a game changer in India's democratic evolution. So, what exactly is the RTI Act? Passed as Act 22 of 2005, it officially came into effect on October 12, 2005. It's a well-structured law with a clear mission, and mission includes empowering citizens, curbing corruption, and making the government more accountable. The preamble of this act is key. The preamble of this act lays down the spirit and intent behind it, much like the preamble of the Indian Constitution. But while the RTI promotes transparency, it also acknowledges the need for reasonable restrictions. Just like Article 19, Clause 2 of the Constitution, it allows certain limits, especially when it comes to national security, public order, and sovereignty. So let's talk about some key features of the RTI Act. Alright, let's break down some of the Act's main provisions. So the first feature is empowering citizens and ensuring transparency. We know that RTI Act is designed to make government operations more efficient and responsible, and that any citizen can request information from public authorities, ensuring openness in governance. So this is the most important feature, which empowers citizens and ensures transparency. Second important feature is reasonable restrictions. So what is it? While transparency is the goal, some information is off limits. Anything that could compromise national security, foreign relations, or public safety is protected under the Act. Third feature is a Central Information Commission. To ensure the smooth implementation of RTI, the government set up the Central Information Commission in 2005. If a citizen's request for information is denied, the CIC, that is the Central Information Commission, acts as an appellate authority. That means citizens can appeal to this authority in case their request for information is denied. The fourth important feature of this act is the role of the Chief Information Commissioner. The CIC, that is Chief Information Commissioner, is appointed by the President of India, and he or she serves office for 5 years. What is their job? Their job is to protect the public's right to information while ensuring national interests remain secure. Alright, so what is the impact of the RTI Act? Since its enactment, the RTI Act has revolutionized governance in India. In what ways? So let's take a look at it. It has empowered people to demand accountability from government officials. It has exposed corruption and inefficiencies in various departments. It has strengthened grassroots activism and participatory democracy. It has increased transparency in policy making and governance. At its core, the Right to Information Act 2005 is a major step toward a more accountable democracy. It's built on the idea that an informed citizenry is a powerful one. However, there are challenges in balancing transparency with national security. Sure, there are challenges in balancing transparency with national security, but the fundamental goal remains unchanged. And what is this fundamental goal? The goal is to empower every citizen and ensure democracy serves the people. So, as we move forward, it's crucial to protect and strengthen the RTI framework, ensuring that every Indian can exercise their right to information freely and without. All right. In the next few minutes, we will discuss consumer rights. So let's begin. Have you ever walked into a store and then bought something and later realized it wasn't what you expected? Or maybe you paid for a service that didn't deliver what was promised? Well, you are not alone. And that's exactly why consumer rights exist. A well-informed consumer is an empowered one. Knowing your rights is the first step to protecting yourself from unfair trade practices and ensuring you get what you pay for. So, who exactly is a consumer? The Consumer Protection Act 2019 defines a consumer as anyone who buys goods, whether paid in full, in part, or through a payment plan, or anyone who uses or benefits from goods bought by someone else with their approval, or anyone who hires or avails services, again whether paid in full, in part, or through deferred payment, or anyone who benefits from services hired by another person, again with approval of that person. So basically, if you buy or use a product or service, you are a consumer, and that means you are protected under the law. So which law we are talking about? We are talking about the Consumer Protection Act 2019. This act guarantees 6 essential rights to ensure fair trade and protect consumers from exploitation. So let's break them down. The first right available to you as a consumer is right to safety. You have the right to be protected from dangerous or hazardous products and services that could harm your health, life, or property. This means manufacturers must ensure their products are safe for consumers. The second right included in this act is the right to be informed. Have you ever seen an ad that makes big promises but doesn't deliver? Of course, it is a familiar thing for you, but well, that's illegal. Consumers have the right to know everything about a product, its quality, quantity, price, ingredients, and risks. No misleading claims are allowed. And that's why this right is labeled as right to be informed. To be informed about what? About the product, its quality, quantity, price, ingredients, and risks involved. The third right you have is the right to choose. You have the right to choose from a variety of products and services at fair prices. Companies can't force you into buying something by creating a monopoly or using unfair tactics. Fourth right you have as a consumer is right to be heard. If you have got a complaint, your voice matters. Consumers have the right to be heard by manufacturers, service providers, and regulators. Your grievances must be acknowledged and addressed. Right to seek redressal is the next right available to you as a consumer. If you have been cheated, whether by a faulty product, false advertising, or poor service, you have the right to seek compensation. This could mean a refund, replacement, or even damages for harm caused. The last but not the least right included in this act is the right to consumer education. We all know that knowledge is power, and that's why consumers have the right to be educated about their rights and responsibilities through awareness campaigns, consumer helplines, and legal initiatives. The more you know, the harder it is to be misled. Now, what if a company refuses to resolve your complaint? In that case, the Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission come in. So what is it? CDRCs, called Consumer Disputes Redressal Commissions, is part of the Act. Act has been instituted by the Act. The Consumer Protection Act 2019 has set up 3 levels of consumer courts to handle disputes. The National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, which deals with high-value cases and appeals from state commissions. Second, the State Consumer Disputes Redressal Commissions. These commissions handle cases of moderate monetary value and appeals from district commissions. Third, District Consumer Disputes Redressal Commissions resolve cases at the local level, ensuring justice is accessible to all. The NCDRC, that is National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission. National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission functions as a quasi-judicial commission. Remember, this is very important for you. The NCDRC, that is the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, functions as a quasi-judicial commission, ensuring consumer grievances are addressed fairly and efficiently. But wait, who actually makes sure companies follow the rules? That's the job of the Central Consumer Protection Authority. So what is CCPA, or the Central Consumer Protection Authority? The CCPA is responsible for protecting and enforcing consumer rights nationwide, cracking down on unfair trade practices and false advertising, making sure businesses stick to fair and ethical practices. And to keep these things transparent, state commissions must report to the central government every 3 months. What is the duration? 3 months. And in this duration, whatever happened about vacancies, pending cases, and resolutions must be updated every 3 months. So, at the end of the day, consumer rights matter because they ensure fairness, transparency, and accountability in the marketplace. The Consumer Protection Act 2019 has made it easier than ever for consumers to fight back against fraud, misleading ads, and poor services. But laws alone aren't enough. We know this. It's up to us as consumers to stay informed, raise our voices, and demand fairness. So, next time you make a purchase, remember you have rights, and using them makes the marketplace safer and fairer for everyone. In the next few minutes, we'll be talking about the rights of forest dwellers. The rights of forest dwellers and women's property rights have been key areas of debate and struggle in India. Among these, the scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers, that is, Recognition of Forest Rights, Act 2006, stands as a landmark legislation. It stands as a landmark legislation aimed at restoring the rights of indigenous and marginalized communities over forest lands they have dependent on for generations. So, let's try to understand the Forest Rights Act 2006, what are its key features and how it is to be implemented. This act emerged from decades of struggle by tribal and forest-dependent communities asserting their rights over forest land. It is crucial to the well-being of millions of tribals and other forest dwellers across India. The act provides for the restitution of deprived forest rights, including individual rights to cultivate land within forests and community rights over common property resources such as grazing lands and water bodies. So, what is the role of Gram Sabha in recognizing rights? Let's talk about it. The Gram Sabha or village assembly plays a crucial role or central role in implementing the act. It serves as the primary authority to initiate the process of determining individual and community forest rights. So this entire process involves, first, assessing the claims of forest dwellers and communities. Second, consolidating and verifying these claims through participatory process. And finally, passing resolutions that are then forwarded to a subdivisional level committee formed by state government. So this decentralized process ensures that forest dwellers can exercise their rights effectively. Now, with this background in view, let's talk about some key features and significance of this act. The Forest Rights Act 2006 is groundbreaking for several reasons, and we can highlight at least 6 reasons. Firstly, for the first time, community rights over common property resources have been formally acknowledged. The act highlights the individual rights of tribal and marginalized communities, ensuring their access to land and resources, and that is the second feature, that is protection of individual rights. Third feature is introduction of revenue villages. The act mandates the conversion of forest villages, old habitations, unsurveyed villages, and other settlements into revenue villages to ensure secure land tenure for forest dwellers. Fourth feature is livelihood and food security. By granting legal rights over forest lands, the Act ensures sustained livelihood and food security for forest-dwelling scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers. Fifth, it strengthens forest conservation. Community forest resources, known as CFR, are now monitored and managed in ways that align with the traditional ecological knowledge of marginal communities. These communities have historically utilized forest resources in sustainable ways. Last but not the least, protection of intellectual property and traditional knowledge. The Act plays a crucial role in safeguarding intellectual property rights and traditional knowledge, and related to this, traditional knowledge related to biodiversity, cultural diversity, and indigenous practices. So, we can say that the Forest Rights Act 2006 is a significant milestone in India's legal landscape, ensuring that forest dwellers are not just seen as occupants but as rightful stewards of the land they have lived on for generations. This act helps integrate indigenous knowledge with modern conservation efforts, ensuring both human rights and environmental sustainability. Understanding and upholding these rights is essential for preserving the identity, culture, and livelihoods of India's forest-dwelling communities. In the next few minutes, we will be talking about the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, commonly known as MGNREGA. The Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act is one of the most significant social security measures enacted in India. Passed on 23 August 2005, this act provides a legal guarantee for wage employment to rural households, making it a transformative initiative in poverty alleviation and rural development. So what exactly is the Act? What are its key features? What are its objectives? Let's try to understand. Originally known as the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, or popularly known as NREGA, NREGA. This legislation was later renamed to honor Mahatma Gandhi's vision of self-reliance and dignity through labor. The Act mandates the central government to establish the National Employment Guarantee Fund, ensuring financial support for its implementation. So what are the objectives of MGNREGA? The Act serves multiple objectives aimed at improving rural livelihoods. What are its objectives? First, guaranteed wage employment. Second, national security. And third, reducing rural to urban migration. Let's talk about first objective, which is guaranteed wage employment. The Act provides 100 days of assured wage employment to unskilled rural laborers every financial year. The second objective is economic security. That is, by offering a steady source of income, the Act helps reduce poverty and enhance financial stability in rural areas. Third, reducing rural to urban migration. How does it do that? By creating employment opportunities within villages, MGNREGA aims to curb distress migration to urban centers. So what are the key features of MGNREGA? We can highlight at least 4 features, namely legal guarantee of employment, universal applicability, issuance of job cards, and last but not the least, timely wage payment. Let's deal with these key features one by one. First feature is legal guarantee of employment. Any adult member of a rural household willing to perform unskilled manual labor is entitled to employment, and this entitlement comes with a maximum cap of 100 days per household. The second key feature is universal applicability. The MGNREGA covers all villages across the country, ensuring that every rural household can register under MGNREGA. The third key feature is issuance of job cards. Households that register under the scheme receive job cards within 15 days of submitting their application. This job card serves as proof of entitlement to employment under MGNREGA. The fourth feature is timely wage payment. Equal wages for men and women ensure gender parity in rural employment. Wages must be paid within a fortnight to prevent financial distress among laborers. At least 1/3 of the beneficiaries under this scheme should be women. So what is the significance of MGNREGA? MGNREGA is more than just an employment scheme. It is a tool for empowering rural communities. By guaranteeing income, reducing seasonal unemployment, and strengthening the rural economy, the Act plays a pivotal role in India's development landscape. So the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act stands as a beacon of social justice and inclusive growth. By ensuring a steady livelihood of millions, it reinforces the fundamental principle that work is a right, not a privilege. The impact of MGNREGA extends beyond wage employment. It contributes to rural asset creation, environmental conservation, and overall economic stability. Understanding and strengthening such policies is crucial for building a more equitable and sustainable future for India. Hello and welcome to the last segment of this session. In this segment, we will be summarizing all the 4 topics which we discussed, namely access to information, consumer rights, the rights of forest dwellers, and the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, popularly known as MGNREGA. Alright. In this session, as I said just a moment ago, we will summarize key aspects related to empowerment through information access, consumer rights, traditional rights of forest dwellers, and rural employment guarantees. So let's get started. In the first module, we have covered gender, caste, and class. As we have discussed earlier, gender equality means recognizing the diverse needs and priorities of both men and women, including marginalized groups such as ethnic minorities, persons with disabilities, and other individuals. Feminist scholars emphasize that gender is socially constructed. We have debated and discussed this earlier in our sessions. As far as caste is concerned, in India, Article 17 of the Constitution abolishes untouchability and criminalizes its practice in any form. However, social inequalities persist due to caste and class divisions. This we have discussed again in detail. The next segment which we spoke about is the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, which is replacing the earlier 1995 law and aligns with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. It broadens the definition of disability, increasing recognized categories from 7 to 21. The Act also classifies individuals with benchmark disabilities as those having at least 40% of a recognized disability. So in the second module, we discussed empowerment, and it includes first topic as access to information. We have discussed that the United Nations considers access to information an essential part of freedom of expression. Lack of information can lead to governance failures and reduced public participation. In India, grassroots activism led to the passage of the Right to Information Act in 2005. The RTI Act empowers citizens by ensuring transparency and accountability in governance. However, it also imposes restrictions on information that could compromise national security, international relations, or public order. The Act established the Central Information Commission to oversee its implementation, with the Chief Information Commissioner serving a 5-year term. Next, we discussed about consumer rights. The consumer rights are included in the Consumer Protection Act of 2019, which defines 6 key consumer rights: the right to safety, the right to be informed, the right to choose, the right to be heard, the right to seek redressal, and the right to consumer education. The Consumer Protection Act establishes consumer disputes redressal commissions at national, state, and district levels to handle consumer complaints. We also discussed the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, formed in 1988, which functions as a quasi-judicial authority. Additionally, we discussed the Central Consumer Protection Authority, which regulates cases related to unfair trade practices and misleading advertisement. And next, what we discussed is the traditional rights of forest dwellers. The Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act 2006 safeguards the rights of millions of marginalized forest communities. It provides for the restitution of both individual land rights and community ownership of common resources. And we also discussed the role of Gram Sabha, which plays a crucial role in identifying and verifying claims under this Act, forwarding them to higher authorities for recognition. The Act is significant because it recognizes community rights for the first time. It highlights individual rights of tribal and marginalized communities. It converts unrecognized forest villages into revenue villages. It ensures food security and conservation. It protects intellectual property and traditional knowledge. And in this session, the last segment which we discussed is the Rural Employment Guarantee Act. The Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which was passed in 2005, aims to provide social security through wage employment. We have also discussed key features of MGNREGA, which include a guarantee of 100 days of unskilled manual work per rural household, equal wages for men and women, payments within 15 days, at least 1/3 of beneficiaries being women. The Act aims to curb rural to urban migration by enhancing economic security in villages. We discussed that a Central Employment Guarantee Council was also established to oversee its implementation. So to conclude this session, it is crucial for us to understand legal rights and responsibilities. Understanding our legal rights and responsibilities is crucial in shaping a just and equitable society, whether it is ensuring gender equality, accessing information, protecting consumer rights, safeguarding tribal communities, or promoting rural employment. Each aspect contributes to an empowered citizenry. Stay informed, stay empowered. If you found this discussion useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. Thank you for watching.